Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And I'm really glad you're here today. So I was inspired by Natasha at Treasure Books to do more with the collection of envelopes that I've been hoarding. So I made a couple of things over the weekend, and then I thought I would go ahead and try to make some on camera as well in a similar way. So this is one part of the envelope. In fact, both of these things came from the same envelope. So this one is a pocket, and this one is a little booklet with a tag that goes through the little window, and you open it up three ways, and it's just got some rub-ons on here, and then this calendar is actual vintage from 1947. So I thought that I would do something similar with another envelope. So I brought along this envelope here and a couple of supplies to try to recreate what I did. So I'm just going to line this up, cut it, and I'm going to work on the bottom half first. So this is going to be the little booklet, but this is going to be the pocket. So I'm going to work on the pocket first. And I brought along some things here to use. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just collage on or decoupage on this book page. It's from a Latin book, a Latin textbook. So I think I'll put that down here because I think it's kind of fun to have the writing and stuff on there. So for this, I will use the collage medium, and maybe I'll put it over here so I don't make a huge mess. All right, so we've got to start. And then the next thing I want to do is attach these birds. Actually, I think I'm just going to do the one bird, because I want to put a thumb hole in the top, and I don't want to cut right into the poor bird's head. Have him over to the side like so. We'll apply some more of the collage medium. I love this collage paper. This is Tim Holtz collage paper. The pattern is called Aviary. And I really like the way it just sort of disappears into the background, the edges of it anyway. Then I'm going to let this dry for a minute. And while that's drying, I have a slide here that I'm going to pop the slide out. This is from July 1966. I found at an estate sale a whole box of slides, and I could only take a few of them, but I wanted them all. But I thought, now I better just let other people have them too. I didn't want to, I wanted them all. Okay, so I'm just going to put some distress ink on there, and it's going to blend in because I'm also going to decoupage on another piece of collage paper. But I like the way the ink sort of runs and makes it look really vintage. So I have this piece. All right, so we're going to let that dry too. While those two pieces are drying, I'm going to play with what I'm going to put under the slide. So I just cut a square of vellum, and I got these rub-ons at the Dollar Tree. And if you go to the Dollar Tree and look in their craft section, you might find these rub-on transfers, and they have like a whole bunch of different ones. So I got a few, and I thought I would rub on the butterfly. Even though part of the wings will be cut off, I like the color of it. So if you've never used rub-ons before, And I'm sorry if the glare is getting to you, but I'm trying to do this quickly. So you just cut out the piece that you want and pull off the backing. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. And then you put the adhesive side down. Like so. And then you take, you know, something like a piece of plastic, credit card, or a gift card or something like that. These just happen to be little dividers for some of the little containers that I have that I didn't use all those dividers for. And you just scrape on it like this, rub on it, and you can test it by pulling off the adhesive and do it really carefully. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't work very well. Like this one, it's not quite getting the edges, so I'm going to go back and do it again. Oh, that worked a lot better. Okay, there you go. So now that is on there. And what I will do is glue it to the back of the slide once it's dry. All right, so these are dry now, and I went ahead and sewed around here, around the edges, which is a totally optional step, but I really like the way it looks. And I'm going to cut in a thumb hole as well. And to do that, I like to have it pretty much in the center. So I'm just going to grab a pencil and make a mark where the center is. I'm going to line it like so. And now I have a little thumb hole, so that's good. Now I'm also going to radius the edges a little bit. And because I sewed around here, I'm just going to use the 1/4 inch section of this crocodile corner jumper. And I'm also going to ink the edges. This is coming together pretty quick. Probably because I had all the pieces ready. I don't know about you, but I can labor over a layout for a long time before I decide what I'm going to do. Okay, and on the slide, I need to get rid of this little center section here. Move this to the side, and basically all I'm doing is cutting with my little craft knife an X in there. Okay, so I'm gonna file the excess off because I just like the way it looks when it just sort of tears off, and that this is a pretty quick and easy method of removing the excess. And then I just go inside and do the same thing. Now we need to attach the butterfly. And basically what I'm going to do is put some ink, not ink, some glue around the edges of the slide. Let's see, this is up. Not that it really matters, but there. Isn't that cute? I also want to ink around the edges of the slide. So before I attach this, I want to put a little bit of the slide itself in here. So I'm going to cut it in half because I'm going to use it on the other piece too, the other little envelope, and just sort of position it like so. Just so it's sort of just peeking out. I just love the way that looks with the little edges there. Okay, so we'll let that dry. Because what I want to do with the slide is I want to actually be able to put a little tag in there. So use it as a sort of a little pocket on the front of this pocket. So what I'm going to do is use some of these, it's like photo foam, you know, from it's mounting foam, I guess, is what you call it. So I'm going to put some on around the three sides of it. You have to be careful with this stuff because it is super aggressive. And I am not even kidding. Like I said, this stuff is really, 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 really aggressive. So be careful. I'm going to move it over here where I can see it better. Because once you touch it on there, it is on there. But I do want to give it a little bit of lift, which is why I'm doing it this way. You can probably get this at the dollar store as well. But I've had it for a long time, so I'm not really sure where I got it. All right, before I take off the backing, I'm going to ink the sides of this, just so it blends in a little bit better. So now just peel the backing off to expose the other sticky side of it. Ta-da! I just have this little piece that I can use as a tag. So we'll just cut it off here. It's just a scrap. And give it sort of a little tag shape. I'm going to distress the edges of it. And I'll probably, put some sort of a sentiment or something like that on it at some point. But in the interest of time today, I think I'll just leave it as is, except I do want to put a little bit of a topper on it. I've got a little scrap of sari silk here, which will do very nicely. All right, so that's a little pocket with a slide on the front, and that becomes a pocket as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started on the other half of the envelope. Okay, I'm back and I am ready to start on this little booklet made out of this half of the envelope. So I want to open it up so that I can lay it out flat. So I'm going to shave off just a little bit on the edges. So the basic construction of this is that this piece is going to fold over to the inside, and that will form a pocket. And then this will form a flap. So just so I can see the center better, I'm going to highlight it with my inker. Okay. I don't want to look at this blue underneath, so I'm going to glue on some of the scrapbook paper on the inside. Just use my glue stick for this. I don't know if I can remember how to make this. It's only been a couple of days, but you know what? I've slept since then. Okay, before I glue this down, I am going to cover this with wallpaper, and I'm choosing this piece to do it. So this is going to fold to the inside. So I need to position the wallpaper in such a way that I can trace out the hole. Actually, it doesn't need to go all the way to this side because something else is going to go there. And this is tracing paper I've had forever, but it works really well for marking out where the holes are, so that it makes it easy to cut them out. What I decided to do is anchor the envelope onto the wallpaper so that it doesn't move while I'm tracing. So I'm just going to put the tracing paper down there and grab my bone folder and trace around the edge of the window. So that worked well. You can see that really clearly. And now I can go ahead and cut this out. So the easiest way to do it is to go from corner to corner and then just take the scissors and just start cutting. But going corner to corner like that makes it so that you can get your scissors in there. You probably already know that. Getting around those radius corners, it's much easier to turn the wallpaper than to try to turn the scissors. And it probably won't be perfectly straight, but that's okay. Okay, so one good thing to do before you put the wallpaper on is to ink around the window, because undoubtedly some of the white of the envelope is going to show through if you don't get it exactly the exact shape or size of the window. All right, I'm going to start with Fabri-Tac. Okay, so before I get this all, the rest of it all glued down, I'm going to sew around the edge of the window. Most of it anyway, I think, because I'm going to put this little piece on over there. So I'm just going to sew around the bottom three sides, or the two sides in the bottom. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sewn around the three edges of the window, and before I glue the rest of this wallpaper down, I'm going to cover this flap with this piece of coffee dyed paper. But as you can see, it doesn't, on this side, doesn't fully cover the edge of the envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down on both sides, and then I'm going to put a decorative edge like this on the side so that when I fold it over, it has a nice little, decorative edge that goes over that area right there. So I will commence gluing. And I don't want to make a big mess, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to use my glue stick again. I do want it to overlap this area a little bit because I'm going to glue something else on there. And I don't want any of this blue to show. And trim this piece. And get out my little decorative edge punch and punch away. I found this at a garage sale. Whenever you're buying a punch at a garage sale, see if you can try it out first, because they don't always work. Then you get them home and it's a struggle trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to sharpen this thing? And I've been burned more than once. Oh, look. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I love that. So to get the little scalloped edges, I'm going to use some of the collage medium quickly before the Fabri-Tac dries, and then hopefully those will lay down. Now I need to put a thumb hole in here, and it's kind of tricky because I'm going to cover this piece and I'm going to have to go back and cut it out, but it worked okay before, so I'm going to go ahead and put that thumb hole in there because this is going to be the pocket for a tag. Okay, I'm going to start trimming the excess off before I do anything else, and then we can go on. There, now the next step is to glue the pocket down. Okay, now we'll get the centerpiece in, and for this, I'm using some of this awesome calendar that I found at an antique store, and it's been really fun looking through it because it looks like some kid had it, and there are some addresses in here, and one of them, I don't know if you can see this, hold it up, it says Sandy Clow, wow wow, right there, and then a little bit later on, he talks about, okay, so tomorrow I give this note to Sandy, David. Oh, I did not give the note to Sandy. I will give it to blank sometime. So maybe he's breaking up with Sandy even before they got together. And I want to answer your question at noon today. And then he says, let's see, I will go all the time if possible to Sunday school. Tomorrow is David's turn to do dishes. So there's really kind of a lot of fun stuff in here. But I'm going to go ahead and take this piece. Let's see, do I cut off things to do today? Or, yeah, I think I'm going to cut off the things to do today. Oh, that came off really nicely. I'll set that aside. And let's see, the edges need to be trimmed as well. So, oh, some of the bottom came off, but I'm going to say that's okay. What are you going to do? What I can do is ink in that area. Sometimes when you get really fragile paper like this, because it's so old, it just wants to tear. But that's okay. I think that kind of adds to it. And I'm going to ink around this edge as well. So for this, this particular part, I'm going to use the collage medium. I could put things to do today right there, couldn't I? So I will. Okay, and I want to seal this, so I'm going to put a coat on top as well. So I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and it's time to start working on the finishing touches, starting with this little piece right here that's going to go over the top. So let me trim this down. I think I'll just go ahead and hold it this way and just snip it off. Okay, there we go. Save that for another project and glue this on. Okay, so that is on there now. I really like the way that looks. As soon as this dries, I'm going to round these corners, but while it's drying, I can go ahead and round the other corners. So for this one, I'm going to use the 1/2 inch radius. Okay, on this side, I want to decorate it up a little bit. Thought I would put one of these there, one of those little Tim Holtz flowers, and a butterfly, and a little faux stamp that's left over came from a piece of scrapbook paper. I'll get the stamp down first. Okay, so I like the way that side looks. And on the inside, I'm going to put a couple of little embellishments, starting with this lace. And then I also want to put a little bit of this slide down behind this lady. So right about there. So now this pretty lady, and she looks like she has appointments to keep, which is why I chose her. Very good. Now to put the closure on, Make sure I can get this tied in the right spot before, in fact, I'm going to hold this closed so it's not fighting with me. And this is just seam binding, another thrift store find. Okay, so now that this is on here sort of where it needs to be, I'm going to leave it there and glue the kind of the little spine cover. And I'm just using sari silk. So I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac here. Totally doesn't matter if it's straight. I think it looks nicer if it's not. And this, putting this on isn't necessary. You could just glue the ribbon down or just leave it loose. But I like the way it looks with a little bit of embellishment on the edge. Okay, I think we need a little bit more at the top. One of the things I like to pick up at the dollar store are I found these little butterfly stickers. So I want to have one of them on here as well. But they come with these foam backings, and I don't really care to use the foam backing because they stick up too far. I'm trying to decide if I don't think I want that there. I think just maybe, well, let's put this guy on first and then decide. The Dollar Tree, their crafters square, depending on which one you go to, because, they're not all the same. I have definitely found that out. But some of them have really great stuff in their crafters square. I feel like you need something more right there. How about a stamp? Postage stamp it is. And then a little tiny bit of bling. And now, just to finish it off, we'll make the tag. So I cut this piece, and I found this little sentiment in a book. Little book that I have. It looks like it's a little cross-stitch sentiment. So let me see how deep this goes in. Actually, they go in so much better when the bottoms are rounded a little bit. So I'm going to just use the 1/4 inch. Okay, so that's how deep it is. So I can cut it off right about there. And then a little bit of a tag shape at the top. We'll just staple on a piece of lace at the top. I like this sentiment because it goes with the little day planner calendar theme. Don't forget to do all the things you had planned. Oh, no, it just says forget me. Oh my goodness. Okay, what that means is that I need to trim some off the bottom. Because I don't think forget me is quite the sentiment I wanted to have. And then, of course, you can also always put, in fact, I think I'll just do that right now, put some paper on the back for journaling on. And and then that gives a little bit more structure too, makes it just a tiny bit less flimsy. You can sew around it as well if you prefer. There's a place to write something, a little note, or use it as a bookmark or whatever. Okay, so here we have it. Out of the one envelope, the one window envelope, we made this cute pocket that has a tag in this little pocket that's on the front made out of a slide, and this little 3-fold notebook that has the calendar inside and a few other embellishments. Now let's see how we can use it in a journal. So this is the journal that I'm working on right now, and this little notebook could go right here in a corner tuck, and the little pocket can go anywhere. Go right there, for example. Isn't that cute? Or you could even embellish the back of it or cover the back of it and make it a removable so that you could just clip it in. So any number of possibilities that you can do with this. You can put it, tuck it up underneath here if you want to, if you want to make it a removable. So I hope you enjoyed this. I had fun and I hope you did too. So if you like this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you have, thank you very much. And if you haven't, I sure would love to have you. So please, again, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you in my next video. And let the serendipity find you. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.